We've been fortunate that we've had two really good tests for us to start the season against two good passing teams. Very different, one at home and in our renovated stadium that was fun, but this was a great trip for us from the standpoint that it was the first time a lot of these guys have traveled. It was a late night game, so that's different for them sitting around all day and something they had to manage. We got behind early, we had adversity. It was an in-state school that there's a certain amount of pressure when you play in-state schools that haven't beaten you before that you've got to handle well. So it was a good challenge, and we thought it was also a really good learning experience. It wasn't a thing of beauty, but we know this team's a work in progress. We've got a lot to do, and we can come back now and continue to work on it. And it's a whole lot easier to improve things when you win. I think this team's kind of growing up right in front of our eyes. Kicking game was really good. Jonathan Gold, 2 punts inside the 20-yard line, 1 at the 8. Justin Tucker, 5 touchbacks on kickoffs. Quan, 16-yard punt return, 60-yard field goal return, and also 2 block kicks, 2 block punts. So we felt like that we didn't have a chance to return but 1 kickoff, and we didn't do it very well. It was one that was deep in the end zone. Their kicker's leg was as good as I've ever seen. I mean, it was just phenomenal. He was just short on that 65-yard field goal, but it was good that our coaches took advantage of it. Dwayne Akina is the best at what he does in the country. That's now 51 block kicks, and he also did a great job of getting the field goal return. And Aaron Williams is the young man that blocked both of the kicks. He got his hands on both of them. So we think he is a guy that can continue to do that better. Defensively, we felt like second half shutout was great, forced another turnover. We held them to 4.7 yards per attempt in the passing game. So a lot of their passes were short passes, and we were able to come up and tackle them. And we got a lot of pressure on the quarterback. 2 sacks, 10 hits on the quarterback, 19 pressures. And at the same time, we felt good about the 2 out of 4 in the red zone. Most productive player defensively was Roderick McElroy. He just had an outstanding game, 14 tackles, picked up the fumble and ran it back for a touchdown. That made him also part of the Ball Hawk Award. Sam Acho knocked the ball loose, and Roderick picked it up and ran it back for the touchdown. The Hard Hat Award goes to Sergio Kendall this week because he had a great hit on the quarterback. Concerns defensively is we need to force more turnovers. We didn't stop the run and start the game like we wanted to out in El Paso. And again, the last drive before the half, we have a chance to stop them there. We've got 3 timeouts, and we can actually go up 35-13 or 35-3 at that time, and the game's over at halftime instead of having some excitement in the third quarter. Offensively, we had 3 80-yard touchdown drives, which is really hard to do, especially when they blitz 79% of the time. We didn't have an offensive penalty, and that's an amazing stat, really, because very seldom does that ever happen, and especially with as much movement as there is up front. We had 4 touchdown passes, so you have to have good protection, and we've had good ball security. We scored 4 out of the 5 times in the red zone, and the disappointment was the turnover. The Boss Hog, the offensive lineman of the week, again, Adam Ulatowski. The most productive player offensively was Colt McCoy. I mean, he is really, really playing well and showing great leadership. The interception was not his fault. So really he's played without a turnover from his shop, and at the same time being really competitive and being a good leader. The great play of the game was Quan. The catch that he made was an amazing catch, and really helped us get things going early in the ball game. And they've got a little thing they call the supporting actor who showed up that hadn't been and really made a good play or two. And Fozzie got the supporting actor award. We talk about once again Colt McCoy being good with his feet. I've gone back and asked John and Bill to give me some stats. 10 times Vince Young rushed for over 100 yards. And 6 out of his last 14 starts, he was the leading rusher on our team. So we do not mind Colt making yards with his feet. We think it's a good thing. Concern, we don't want turnovers. We had one. We need to finish runs better. There were a lot of runs that we were close, and an offensive lineman just didn't quite finish, or the back didn't kick through. And we also would like to have John Childs and the second team play more. Lamar Houston, he will play this weekend. I've talked to other guys who have been in similar situations. I've talked to parents, players. I've talked to Lamar at length. We take very seriously what he did. There's no question about that. He will have a long, hard disciplinary action off the field, but he will play this weekend, and he will come up at 12 o'clock today and talk to you all about it. So you can ask him how he feels about what he did, because he's really remorseful. He was a young guy that worked with Mothers Against Drunk Driving in high school. So he's very aware of the seriousness and the concerns of drinking and driving. The retired jerseys, Bobby Lane will have a family member here, and hopefully Tommy Nobis will be here on Saturday for the retired ceremonies, and John can talk to you more about what that encompasses this weekend. And big game with Arkansas. It's fun. Another really good test for us defensively, because we've got another pro passing attack, basically. You take Coach Petrino, Coach Price, and Coach Snellenberger, three at the best at what they do with quarterbacks in the passing game, and those guys will continue to test us before we get into conference play. Again, we thought the game was a great setup for us to learn from. We'll play Colorado on the road, but we may play them at night. It'll be a different time zone if we do. It'll be late, so at least we've done that now, and the guys have answered that question. In the last 6 years, we've got the second best road record in the BCS as compared to University of Southern California. So our guys have done well on the road. They like the road. They like the challenge. They like that adversity, and it's something that I'm really proud of, the way they responded to the adversity. That wasn't even the same El Paso team that showed up at Buffalo. It was amazing. If you watch the Buffalo film, you'd be in shock. I told Coach Price after the game, if your guys play like this, they'll have a chance to win their league, and they would have already be 1-1 instead of 0-2. So it's just amazing that we excite people. We get them going. In fact, Spike Dykes used to tell me, you got a sick team, play Texas, you'll get well. Only Spike could come up with that. So, questions?
Coach, could you talk about Bozzie? He got the yeoman share of the carries. Do you expect him to do that this week, or will you have more carries with Vondrell and Chris? Or?
We will continue to look at that, because Chris and Vondrell did a good job. Vondrell tweaked his knee in the Florida Atlantic game when they bent it up under him. So he was a little bit limited, and he's a tough young man to even have played on Saturday night. And so with both of them with tweaked knees, you're not sure how much of a load anybody can carry right now. Chris Obanai is the guy that has the most experience. He's the leader in that young group. And there's no question we want to continue to improve in our running game, and we'll just have to look at what fits best. But right now, I don't think any of the three are ready just to stand up and take it over.
Coach, talk about Dan Buckner and Brandon Collins. I know Dan Buckner, he had the interception issue right there, but talk about them, their development. Brandon Collins actually got to play. What are you thinking about the young guys?
Well, we feel excited about our young receiver core. James Kirkendall didn't play as much as we wanted, but those two did. And, of course, you add Malcolm to that as a really young player, too. Brandon gives us great speed, and that's something that we feel it was obvious when he caught a couple of the short passes that he has something with the ball and can make people miss him afterwards. And Dan gives you the tremendous height. And that's why we had him in on the goal line. We were trying to get the fade up in the corner and kick the field goal and go up 31-13, even if we don't. And he got jammed and probably just should have thrown the ball away. But we feel like this is a team that we should see improve in front of our eyes. And guys like those two are guys that should be much better this week. And experiences they get will have a faster learning curve to improve than some of the older guys. Jordan and Quan know what to do. They're going to do it every time. They're who they are. They're going to play hard every week. They're going to catch the balls. These young guys have great role models in them, and hopefully they'll learn from that.
What were some of the concerns maybe you saw against UTEP that you didn't see against FAU?
Oh, gosh, concerns are concerns, and college football is an imperfect sport. I think that's why people like it. They see a bunch of kids and a bunch of coaches make mistakes, and everybody sitting in the stands can evaluate it and say, I don't like that, and that was bad, and boy, that was stupid, and that's going to happen every week. So what you do is you come back in on Sunday and you look at what you messed up and try to fix it, and you see what was done good, and you try to move forward with it and play that guy more, or maybe get it to him more. we thought it would be an ugly game going in because of 79% blitz. So we do want our offensive linemen to finish blocks more. We had some holes, and they didn't quite finish because we're not going to get people to sit and play us base defense. We're so big up front, everybody's going to move, and they're going to blitz, and that's happened for 2 weeks. And we want backs to run through more tackles. So those were things in the running game. And other than that, we thought offensively the protection was good. Colts playing really, really well. And we did what we needed to do. If we hold them going into the half or score when we throw the interception, it gets in the 50s pretty fast, we felt like. So finish the game. Defensively, we didn't start the game like we wanted to. We were playing more zone early to try to help because we thought they would try to do double passes and just try to do some crazy things to pick on our young defensive backs early. So we played more zone coverage, and we didn't adjust to the running game up front as much as we needed to. So we felt like that was something that we needed to improve on. And then the fact that we allowed them to score, or they did a good job and scored right before the half, again, concerned us going in at halftime, because momentum going in at halftime is so key. And we had 3 timeouts, like I said, so we're in a great spot there. If we hold them, we get a 3 and out, we get the punt, we got 3 timeouts. We may be 35-3 at halftime, or 35-6 at halftime instead of 28-13.
Coach, with Arkansas having kind of struggled in their first 2 games against smaller opponents, how do you guard against your guys underestimating them? Obviously, they've got a lot of talent.
Yes, our guys, I'm sure, underestimated El Paso, because if you watch that film of Buffalo and you watch the game we played, they were in the dressing room after the game, even at halftime, saying, "Coach, where'd these guys come from? It's not even the same team." I mean, it's just so I do think our guys, the younger guys, learned, and the older guys know. And Arkansas's had 2 really good, tough wins because those kids were under pressure with a new coach late in the game and came back and won twice. So it's probably, like us, our first 2 games have been good for us. I would think that Coach Petrino would say, boy, they've learned a bunch, and they're pulling together closer because they've had these tight games at the end that they're winning, and they're gaining confidence. And so they're in a great place to come in here as well. I think it'll be a great matchup.
How impressed are you with the consistency Quan has showed and continues to show for his career here?
Quan is so consistent. He's smart. He's nice. He's a husband with 2 children, so he's mature. In fact, Jordan said next year he'll be the old man because he can't even be the old man now, and he's been here 5 years. But Quan learned so much. He was mature coming out of Mart, but he learned so much in pro baseball, and he's been a great settling effect and a great leader on our football team. Every time I see him walk by one of those young receivers, he says, "That's stupid. Don't do that. God, grow up." And I'm thinking, here's a father that's sitting here telling these children in the same room, you need to wake up, grow up, mature.
Coach, this week, of course, or just coming off of it, you play a game that means so much to so many people in West Texas. Obviously, you want to win every game, but it doesn't take much to get the rest of the state and the rest of the region hyped up for Arkansas over the regional rivalries like this. What does it mean to you to know that you guys are playing games that mean so much to so many people, and you are playing these old rivalries? I remember when you guys signed that contract a couple of years ago, that was all anybody could talk about. That was the news of the day. Does it mean something to you knowing that you are playing these important games for people that mean something?
It means a lot to us. Coach Royal told me one time, when you finally realize that your job at Texas is to make sure everybody's happy every Saturday and you have no control over it, then you can sleep better at night, because that's what you're responsible for. But that's why El Paso was a fun game. Might not have been a smart game. There was a risk for us, huge risk, none for them. But give credit to the El Paso people, and the stands were full. And usually we get to buy tickets. I thought most of the fans there were theirs. I mean, they did a great job of taking care of their team and hung in there and fought with them, and give credit to Mike Price and those kids. But also I thought it's fun for our kids. Not many people got to play in that excitement on Saturday night on national TV. And same thing with Arkansas. The Arkansas game historically here has meant so much to the people of this state and the people of that state. And it goes back and embraces games with Coach Royal and Coach McWilliams and Coach Akers and guys that were coaching here when we were in the Southwest Conference. It means more to the people that see those championships, Southwest Conference championships up in the stadium now. So I'm a football fan and a historian of football, and think this is a great game for both.
When you scout,
No. Yeah, we have to be careful with Quan. He won't ever come out. He wants to stay in all the time, and we've tried to get him to slow down on kickoff returns. And, oh, I'm fine, Coach, I'm fine. And he is that way every minute of every day. He never changes. But if we could have all of our players that are 24, 25 years old, it'd probably help us too.
when you get a new coach you're coaching against early in the season, you have 2 games here. Do you look at what the Falcons did? Do you look at what Louisville did, the body of Bobby Petrino's work to scout?
You really study what he did at Louisville, because it might have been different in the NFL, even though all of us are creatures of habit. And whatever he was very successful at Louisville. So whatever you do, you're going to continue to do and probably change it a little bit. But, you know, we've got some people. Gene Chizik worked with him at Auburn. So you don't change very much when you go through. But I would think more than anything else now, you really study the current personnel and you look at what they've done for 2 weeks. You think they'll change some things? In games like last week, a lot more quick passes, a lot more quarterback movement, a lot more quick runs, trying to stay on the field and keep us off the field. So you have to see really the philosophy that someone's going to play against you, the other coach, when you're in the first quarter, because you're really not sure how they'll start it. And the first 2 game plans from Florida Atlantic offensively and El Paso were about the same. Keep the ball, take some deep shots, but try to have the quick passes, keep the quarterback protected, hit a few runs here and there, and just make sure that you try to take Texas off the field.
Coach, are you surprised at just how strong you guys have started as a team? We all kind of laughed at the depth chart in the first week when there were so many oars and all the question marks. It seems like you're kind of 2 for 2 in solid efforts.
We are pleased with the way we've started, and I'm pleased that they've played for 60 minutes. I thought they played hard the entire game. There's so many freshmen out there in that last 2 drives the other night. Again, poor Will and Dwayne were coaching them from the boundary. Back up, move over, get closer. No, move back. So it's just the kind of team we've got right now. It's just it's a team that's playing hard. They're playing well together, and they're really working hard to improve. And hopefully we can continue to do that. We're sure not where we need to be, but they've been a fun bunch because they are really trying.
Coach, last time y'all played Arkansas, y'all swapped. They won here, y'all won there. Now you just have one time. Will you remind your players of that at all, of them coming here and winning? Or is that too far gone?
No, these kids weren't here then. They young guys are really in the moment. They'll want to know what Arkansas did the last 2 weeks. They'll want to watch that film. They'll want to know the guys in front of them and playing across from them. But they will not go back to history very much. I remember when we first the game up there, they were all talking about us winning up there in '69. You know, these kids are saying, I wasn't even born in '69. What are you talking about? So I really don't think that they will feel the buzz of the Texas fans. They'll hear you all talking about it this week. But from their personal experiences, I mean, it's something that they'll worry about Saturday. They will not worry about '69.
Could you talk about Casey Dick, their quarterback? He's a senior, veteran guy.
Yeah, so the great thing about coaching in the state of Texas is there's 350 guys sign scholarships every year. The bad thing is everybody's got a Texas quarterback. I mean, they're all over the place, and they're really good. And when there's about 10 a year you can choose from, it makes it difficult, and you've got to be happy with the one you've got, not worry about the ones everybody else got. I mean, that's just what happens. I remember Lou Holt saying, if you in your business, you better be concerned about the ones you sign, because you got them 365 days a year for 5 years, and if you miss one, you may play against him once or twice over his career if he starts and if he's real good. So worry about the ones you got, don't worry about the others. But he's really a good player. He's managed. They've thrown the ball really well, and they've been balanced in the first 2 games, and I'm sure he'll be excited to be coming back to the state of Texas.
You talked about McElroy earlier. Talk about what he means to you.
He's playing really well. He had the awful injury 2 years ago to a finger in the Rice game, and we thought he was going to be outstanding that year, and didn't get to play new stuff again, and he played 2 or 3 different places. And he and Will have really gotten a great relationship. They're in tune to each other, and Will's excited about him. So we feel like he's playing at a very, very high level right now. And we were pleased. We thought Henry Melton, Eddie Jones, Rack, and Sergio did some really good things in rushing the passer. Sam Acho, we had 5 ends rushing the passer hard on Saturday, and that's something we've got to continue to do. You may not get to a lot of modern-day quarterbacks, but you can sure hit them a lot and get the ball out of their hands fast, and that'll change the game.
We need to wrap, Coach, and the Rice game will be at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Fox.
Okay. Well, let's go. Thanks.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Coach.